And Then What Happened, Paul Revere by Jean Fritz. In 1735, there were in Boston 42 streets, 36 lanes, 22 alleys, 1,000 brick houses, 2,000 wooden houses, 12 churches, 4 schools, 418 horses at the last count, and so many dogs that a law was passed prohibiting people from having dogs that were more than 10 inches high. But it was difficult to keep dogs from growing more than 10 inches, and few people cared to part with their 11 and 12-inch dogs. So they paid little attention to the law. In any case, there were too many dogs to count. Along with the horses, streets, and alleys, there were, of course, people in Boston, more than 13,000. 4 of them lived in a small wooden house on North Street, near Love Lane. They were Mr. Revere, a gold and silversmith, his wife, Deborah, their daughter, Deborah, and their young son, Paul Revere, born the first day of the new year. Of all the busy people in Boston, Paul Revere would turn out to be one of the busiest. All his life he found that there was more to do, more to make, more to see, more to hear, more to say, more places to go, more to learn than there were hours in the day. In Boston, there was always plenty to see. Ships were constantly coming and going, unloading everything. From turtles to chandeliers. Street vendors were constantly crying their wares, everything from fever pills to hair oil to oysters. From time to time, there were traveling acrobats, performing monkeys, parades, firework displays, and fistfights. Once there was a pickled pirate's head on exhibit. Once there was a polar bear. And there was plenty for Paul to do. When he was 15 years old, his father died, and Paul took over the silversmithing business. He made beads, rings, lockets, bracelets, buttons, medals, pitchers, teapots, spoons, sugar baskets, cups, ewers, porringers, shoe buckles, and candlesticks. Once he made a silver collar for a man's pet squirrel. To make extra money, he took a job ringing the bells in Christ Church. In Boston, church bells were rung not just on Sundays, but 3 times a day on weekdays, at special hours, on holidays and anniversaries, for fires and emergencies. Whenever a member of the congregation died and whenever there was especially good news or especially bad news to announce. Sometimes at a moment's notice, word would come that the bells were to be rung, and off Paul would run, his hat clapped to his head and coattails flying. Busy as he was, Paul liked to do new things. If there was excitement around, he liked to find it. In the spring of 1756, when Paul was 21 years old, There was, as it happened, a war close by, and Paul didn't want to miss it. French soldiers, along with Indians, were attacking the borders of the colonies. So Paul grabbed his rifle, buckled on his sword, clapped his hat to his head, and off he went, coattails flying, to defend Fort William Henry on Lake George. And what happened?